Hey, Brett. I'm doing well. How about yourself? I'll wait for a few more people to get in here, if anyone does, before I do the big stuff that I want to talk about as a follow-up to yesterday's video where I was playing around with different miking approaches for acoustic and trying to get it to blend for a live stream. The electric I've pretty much got sorted until I get some real high gain, high volume monstrosity, in which case I'll probably be getting a SIR reactive load with IRs, or maybe the Fryette. I got to look into all that stuff, just because 45-watt basement over there. If I were to try to show you the overdrive sounds on a live stream, it's too much. I can't be this close to it in the room. So for various amps, I'll be looking at some virtual options. And I've got all the digital stuff, which is fine for entertainment purposes. But using acoustic on here has been problematic for the reasons I went into in great detail yesterday. Hey, aloha, Victor. Victor's here. I feel like I'm a real streamer now because all the cool channels have got Victor and Victor there. A few other regular offenders I see from channel to channel and stream to stream. Hey, Derek, Colby Jack. All right, I guess we'll get started. So yesterday, and Claper from Gothenburg, thank you for joining us. Yesterday, we talked about all the settings and stuff, and I don't think I need to get into all that stuff again. Hey, Magisterium. Hey, Michael Smith. Anyone coming in after this, if I don't give you a shout out, it doesn't mean I don't love you. Just want to get going. I have played around with the acoustic settings, and I think I've got both almost ideal sound that I'll show you guys in a minute, and also what I'll probably end up doing most of the time on live stream, since the point of this channel is not to show you amazing acoustic guitar playing all the time, but it is fun to have. But if I want you guys to really hear what the guitars sound like, this won't do it. Let me show you just a sneak peek of what this guitar, this Gibson Southern Jumbo, really sounds like. Versus so with this mic, you can hear the guitar, and it sounds like a guitar in the room, but it's just all of this. You're hearing the strings more than the body. And with this mic, now you're hearing a pretty good indication of what the guitar actually sounds like in the room. The issue being that this is a ribbon mic, and so it's 180 degrees. So yes, it's picking up. I mean, it's not 180 degrees. Sorry, it's a figure 8. So yeah, it's picking up all this, but it's also picking up all this, and it's got reflective surface, reflective surface, reflective surface, and a lot of room noise. So if I turn this mic on, listen to the background noise for those of you with real speakers. So the gain on a ribbon to make this audible has to be up quite a bit. It's almost at 230 on the mic pre. And while the Motu M2 is a good mic pre, it is not, like the Great River I used to have, where that would have no noise added by the mic pre, but you do hear all the stuff in the room. So I think what I'll probably do for the live streams is use this mic for everything, and I'll just move it like this, so you still hear what I'm saying. You have a little bit better idea of the guitar. but it's not quite accurate as. Ribbon sounded real boomy. No, that's the thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. I got such varying opinions in yesterday's stream, opposing opinions on the same audio. People would say, hey, that sounds really boomy. Other people would say, that doesn't have any low end. Or, that's really bright. And on the same clip, people would say, hey, it's really dull. So I'm wondering, what percentage of you out there are listening on really, really terrible playback systems, whether it's phone or iPad or your laptop speakers or little gaming speakers or home stereo systems with a boom box, a subwoofer and real exaggerated stuff. And what percentage of you have played really loud amps way too often? Because I think some of you guys might need to get your hearing checked. You guys would say it's really dull, and this is a very natural kind of thing. Versus. So I think if I grab an acoustic on a stream, I'll probably just do this because it's fast. And this is in the way of me reaching for coffee, and coffee and expensive microphones aren't the best of companions. But this is what I would use in a studio. But in a studio, I would not be sitting here in front of this desk. If I were to try to record acoustic guitar in here, I've got these curtain things. I'd go sit up in front of those red velvet curtains to block anything from back here, and they'd be just pretty much the front lobe of the mic that would hear things. Let me go to the other guitar, give you a sense of what that one really sounds like. And one of the things on the acoustic section yesterday that no one told me, but it was very, very obvious to me listening back, was that the level from the acoustic was really crunchy. I think I've got that very dialed in. I've got the omni-channel dialed up, Jam Pro sound. I've not played around with the expander yet on the acoustic because it's really tricky. You can get into trouble. That kind of thing is really easy to do in post because you can really dial it in. But if I were to have that set up in the live stream, and one day I'm sitting here, and one day I'm sitting here, I could get in trouble with the expander. But this is what this guitar sounds like. And, I went to test the sounds on this before I did this morning, and a song that I've not thought about in forever, and an album I've never had, and a song I've not heard in forever. In 1978, we drove to Colorado to visit my mom's brother, and all the songs that are on the radio that summer were just hardwired in there. So this came to my hands, this came to my head earlier, and here's what it sounds like on this D28 copy. Never own a Bob Seger album. I have nothing but respect for the guy, and if you love him, that's fantastic. But that song has been living rent-free in my head since the summer of 1978. We had an old station wagon with a rear-facing, rear seat. So that whole drive, I was back there watching Kansas recede in the rear view. My rear view is my front view, just lots and lots of Kansas, unair conditioned, 1978. American Cruiser with the wood panels and whatever was on the AM radio. And that song was on the radio a lot that summer, Baker's Street. That was Not Running Against the Wind, 5 watt. Hey, Keith. That was still the same. And Joe McCraw reminds you of an Eagle song. It's very similar to The Best of My Love, I guess, which I will not play because the Eagles shut everyone down if you actually try to show people what their music was. So thanks for joining us, Keith. Thanks for joining us, Joe. Thanks for joining us, everyone. That's the Eagles kind of thing there. You know, a lot of people play C to F. It's amazing. But if you play C to F too recognizably, they'll get you. Let alone the dreaded. We don't do that. Now, to make this work, I'm having to turn this mic off when I have this mic on, because if they're both on, not only does the phase cancellation make the acoustic sound terrible, but the combined levels make the output crunch. So I'm really happy with this. Got to get my nails did. See, it's harder to improv when you've got to watch your buttons. By the way, Keith, since you're here, I got a Stream Deck, and this thing has been a godsend for this, because I've got a button here that mutes this, and I've got a button here that mutes this, and I've got a button here for the gate, and I can change scenes as I stream. And I've got a button that shows the power. I push it, and all this stuff turns on and gets it where I want. And I love it, because in other streams, I'm always going with a mouse and looking around and clicking on this and clicking on that. And here, I'll talk to you, Keith. It'd be, you'd like it. Speaking of you and David, Keith, Keith's got a stream with David Barber today at 3. I'll be watching that. You guys need to watch that too. Well, 3 p.m. my time. Look on 5 Watt World's channel for when that comes out. Sorry, Duck. So without the good mic, see, I'm watching the levels there, and the levels are a little bit hot. So, it's tough. to use this for both, because if I move this away so that this doesn't overdrive all the stuff I have for my voice, then it's distant and, whereas if this thing just could magically float here and then move over there when I don't need it, but with a stand on the desk and all that, it's fun. But God, these things do sound good. Now, you guys tell me, does that sound boomy? Does that sound dark? All the things I was told yesterday, and I listened back and I would make changes in that stream based on what you guys were telling me, and it would just get worse. Even just before I had this set the way it is now, just putting the mic roughly in this vicinity, this thing sounded great. Hey, yeah, Hans, I assume you're talking to Keith about the Blue Pick. He turned me on to them. I'm waiting for one to show up. But it's interesting. This is a prime tone 1.3, and I ordered the TP48, which is a 1.22 millimeter. It has not arrived yet. But the sound difference is huge going between this 1.3 prime tone and this 1.14, what do they call it from Dunlop, the Max Grip carbon. So what you've been hearing was the carbon. Let me go back to this mic and show you the difference. So aside from how they feel to pick in the right hand, the sound difference is huge. I'm really interested to know how the Blue Chip sounds in comparison to these two things. Subtle difference to you. I find that the 1.14 Max Grip is real zingy, and this is very smooth. Let me do something else for that. So I hear a lot more high end and a lot less pick attack fundamental for the strumming stuff with the smaller pick. It's going to be interesting to see where the Blue Chip falls. Yeah, Colby Jack and Keith, I can get you guys together. That'd be, I wish I'd known before I bought one, but yeah, I didn't pay much and they're worth it. I'm really looking forward to trying the Blue Chip. Hey, Martin, thanks for joining us. I have tried a thumb pick. I tried really hard to use a thumb pick during COVID and lockdown because I didn't have any time to do anything else, and I bought like 10 different thumb picks. And what I learned is that they all make me keep my hand about a foot away from the guitar. It just feels very unnatural being high off the guitar. And they all cut off the circulation and hurt my thumb after about 10 minutes. Even I got the very large one. Let's see. The gray pick sounds less tinnier. It's interesting that you say that because I find that. Let's do it again. I think the gray pick sounds brighter, which is some people's tinny. Gray. Prime tone. So much of playing Zeppelin is just to get the. So, what's the verdict out there? How do the two acoustics sound to you, versus just swinging it with this thing? Though I saw the levels are still so hot, and I don't want to. What I could do is I could put a gain plug-in in the channel, which I could assign to a button to turn it down a little bit for the Eastman. Yeah, Victor, this is the Eastman E8D, which is kind of their HD 28 copy. The substantial difference between this and a Martin is this has a what do you call it? It's not a one-piece neck. So this is a piece of wood, this is a piece of wood, and this is a two-piece heel. So I can just see the line where the bottom of the heel meets the actual neck. But this joint is actually stronger than a one-piece. So what's the term for that? Not spline. Where this wood goes this way diagonally. It's a joint that almost, Ibanez and all that stuff. How about if I tilt the 57's dead spot more towards the guitar? Oh, you mean to use both at once? A scarf joint. Thanks, Brett. Yeah, scarf joint. And I'll get to you that guitar guy. Iron Jar Jar. The dead spot on 57 is actually over there, not here so much. And while this will be a little bit less sensitive like this, all right, here, I'll talk as I walk around it, or I move around. So you can still hear me, but it's not as clear as I get in this area, and that's what's natural. Then if I were behind it, it would be quieter. But for this purpose, there's no way to get the guitar in the null of the 57. Is this a capo or a string dampener I have over the nut? This is a cradle style or yoke style or stirrup style capo. 3 different terms for the same thing. This is a Shub F1, and I really like these. I have one on each acoustic because once you get used to it, it's pretty quick, and it applies very even pressure string to string. And because it only applies enough pressure as necessary, and it's very, self-centering pretty much, and I can get it right up on the fret. I didn't get it perfectly there. Let me get even more nicer. So it's right up on the fret, but not a ton of pressure there. It doesn't require as much retuning as traditional capos, especially like a Kaiser, which puts a bunch of sideways pressure on. Wasn't expecting a test. So you just slide up and down. You loosen it while you're talking about what you're going to do on the next song to the audience. Or in this case, you just wait a second and tighten it there, and this did good there. And the tuning's really stable. And when you sorry. I forgot to turn on this mic. I need a producer. Keith, want to fly down here? So if I had it there and I want to move it here, I just loosen it, slide it, tighten it. It's fast, ish, but it doesn't require retuning after doing it. And then I can slide it over the nut, and it's out of the way, and it's just enough pressure to stay there. It's not making the strings sharp. And I've got other capos. This is a page click that I've had for a long time, and in comparison, it's not very good, but it was not expensive. This is the much ballyhooed G7. This is the Performance 2. The new one's got ART, supposed to adapt the radius. And I bought this during COVID, and it works pretty well. And it's certainly kind of quick. But as you just heard, it's a bit tricky to get it even on all the strings. They might have fixed that on the new ART version. Tuning's not as good, as you might be able to hear there. And it's really heavy. It's really extraordinarily heavy. It does have the advantage that you can put on the headstock if you need to. And so I keep it around. It's a handy thing if I'm changing strings on something where I want to make sure the strings don't come off the guitar. You know, if I'm dealing with the Maestro on the SG or anything. But I would not buy one of these again. I love the idea. I think the engineering is brilliant. It's just the final product is not good enough for my needs. And then I have another shove. This is this regular C1 because this only goes up to the 7th fret reliably. Just do the neck of the guitar, width of the guitar. And well, they do make a wider one, which would go up there, and then it's wider down here. And so if I need to do something, if I were to do like if I had a boat or is it Cats in the Cradle, which is really hard to do up here. One of the things that make it work for me is I have to put the capo from the bottom, so it's out of my thumb, it's away, and then I have to cheat and not be right behind the fret up here, because otherwise I run out of real estate. And it's not quite adjusted tight enough. You have to adjust it and then put it back. So it's a really cool thing to have in one's case for $20, but it's not as even on the tuning as the F1 or the much more expensive Elliots. But it's pretty good, and it's convenient, and it's $20 as opposed to $80. So if you just want a good capo to have for everything, unless you're using it on a Fender with a 7 1/4 radius, in which case I think you need the C3 that they make, or the classical, in which case you need the C2. But for most electrics and acoustics with a 10 or larger radius, 10-inch or larger radius, the C1 works really well. And one of the tricks you can do is, here I got the capo on the 2nd fret. If I put the capo here at the 4th fret with the C1, but I can only get the top 5 strings. You can fake a drop tuning, which is good if you're a much better guitarist than I am. You can do and then you mess up when you get to this part. Anyway, if someone was much more practiced than I am, I'm going to get that back. I used to be able to play that. This trick is very nice, so you don't have to drop the whole D string just for one tune. So I like capos. Capos is good. I think there was a couple questions I missed. Let's see. DB says my Eastman E10 OM is breaking nicely. Yeah, I love the OMs. I want to get one. I don't listen to modern prog, Jacob K. Guitar. Sorry, I my prog interest is almost exclusively Rush because a lot of it just gets deeply into math to me. Could I program one button to switch mics? Hey, I could. It's a bit tricky with the Stream Deck because I need to play around with that because it's actually it's acting like a Mackie remote controller for Logic, and I need to see if I can have one button do more than one function with one press. And I think that Logic wants an exclusive thing. This thing is this, and there's not a way for me to do this, then do this on this button, and still have the icon state change. So right now I've got it set up so I've got the white mic icon for the voice because it's active, and I've got the mic icon for the guitar in gray because it's inactive. And if I push on guitar, then I've got a grayed mic icon for guitar and for voice, and a white mic icon for guitar, which is it's easier for me to know what without looking up in the tiny little corner there to make sure the little blue mic thing went away. Almost mandatory finger picking knowledge. I wish I had more. I'm working on it. It's tough. I'll sit there for an hour while watching TV on the couch and just do that basic Travis pick. Or this one. I've just got to get it back into my muscle memory because it has left my muscle memory. I'm not doing app questions today in B. This is so that future live streams where I will be answering lots of app questions sound better. Let's see. And let's see. Joe McGraw's got the D'Addario Capo. D'Addario's got one similar to this. Ned Steinberger invented. It's about $20 less than this, and it also has an adjustment knob on the back, and it looks really like a good product. But I've heard I saw multiple reviews where they were breaking right where the set screw attaches on the back. So I did not try one, but if it's working for you, Joe, that's great. I mean, it seems like a good product, but I just don't want to spend $50 on something and have the metal fatigue and break right where the stress is. And the other nice thing about the Shub F1 is that as you adjust the knob, I'll show you on the page because it's easier to hold up the camera. The knob does not extend and go into towards the neck on most yoke style, including this page, or even the very expensive Elliott's. As you tighten it, the little knurled knob gets closer to the back, and as you open it up, it sticks out so that sometimes it's kind of in the way of your hand, whereas this is always magically staying in the same place. As I loosen it, this doesn't move. As I tighten it, this doesn't move. But yeah, the D'Addario looks good. I should say D'Addario because that's how Jim pronounces his name. Of course, I grew up saying D'Addario because that's what people said in the music stores. Let's see. Cool, Victor, on your Jazz Master. Let's see. Well, the Jammo Pro Sound. I'm not actually running the transport in Logic when I'm doing a stream. This is all just live. I'm just basically letting you hear what the monitor is because I don't need to record this in Logic, so there is no transport running. D'Addario, maybe. I think Jim just says D'Addario. And having been to Italy and trying to be cultured, I would say D'Addario. But I grew up just saying Diodario. I need some Diodario nines. I have a frap available. What is a frap? Thanks, Ted. I appreciate that. All right, Keith. Thanks for joining us, and I will see you. I'll see you on yours at 3. Yeah, the Planet Wave Capo. Yeah, that's the one that Ned Steinberger designed. If it's the one that's kind of like this and kind of like these. And yes, I know $80 is a lot to pay for a Capo. Look at what Elliott's cost, $200 to $250, and Heritage G7 has got it. You know, the G7 company's got the Heritage, which is $235, which looks beautiful and on paper would solve all the problems. But I think the Elliott's probably the end all be all. The Elliott's prettier than this one in that the Elliott's got clear plastic on the metal bar and the Shub's got the black. You can get the clear plastic for the Shub, but apparently it doesn't. It only works really well on 16-inch radius necks, and this is a 12. So. All right, I'll have to listen back to this, make sure I'm happy with everything. But I think if I do a special occasion, like if I were doing a video, a live stream where we're talking about capos or talking about electronic tuners on guitars and wanted to really show you guys, I go to this setup here because it does really, sound very good. The average stream, if I'm just talking to you guys and I'm bored and want to just kind of just do background noodling, I think the 57 is fine because I can always I'll probably make a button that just gives me a -3 dB on this so that I can do that without any risk of clipping, because this thing, it's not going to get a digital clip, but it's going to be slamming that limiter. It just doesn't sound that pretty. Just because this is louder than this. I would not pay more for a Capo than I paid for some of my guitars. Well, pay more for guitars. You can buy any Capo you want. To me, $80 for a Capo, that's crazy, right? Well, once you get good at it, and you can do it a lot faster than I'm doing it right now, the ability to know on stage, you're talking to someone, say, we're going to do our next song, blah, 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 blah. And it's going to be, if not perfectly in tune, fine in tune for live use. That's it. Big Star, you know it, Hal. Yeah. So the ability to just go move it here, and as long as you're careful and you keep it on the parallel to the fret and pretty damn close to the fret, and the guitar is intonated. This guitar is a well compensated saddle, and the nut slots are not cut too high, so it doesn't go sharp in the lower regions. It's great peace of mind to know that you can go up to the 7th fret before you have to worry about checking your tuning too much. It is a Royer R10 hot rod, which is the hot rod with the transformer from the R121. I used to have an R121 and someone stole it, but sorry, I've got a duck for that guy. This thing is what I use for all the electric guitars here on the channel for the last, almost a year now, and it has just been a cheat code for getting great electric guitar sounds. And it also sounds fantastic for acoustic, but it is, like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, it's figure eight, so it's picking up reflections off my monitor and the desk and all, and a lot of room sounds. If I were doing this for real, the other side of this would be have dampening behind it. I probably will get a different mic for this purpose for doing acoustic stuff, just because this figure eight is not the optimal pattern for my usage. But it does sound really nice and warm, and I put this sound up against a lot of very expensive large diaphragm condensers. Though they do have a better signal-to-noise ratio, typically. And then this is an SM57. It's got a shock mount hanger thing on a Elgato Wave arm and a little windscreen so you don't get the pulse. What method would be best for a live gig? Guitar mic to PA, acoustic guitar run through a guitar amp, or an acoustic guitar through a regular amp? Well, Chandel, usually you'd want to use a really high quality modern setup, whether that's the K&K Trinity or going into one of those Grace audio preamp things, which is a lot of guys are doing, or the Anthem thing from LR Bags. Either way, you would send that through a very nice preamp to your monitor mixer, who would also send it to front of house, and you would be hearing that in monitors in ears or monitors on stage, preferably the in-ears these days, and the front of house would be getting that. And if you have a really quiet stage, you could also have a mic on the guitar. For some styles of music, just walk up to the mic. Works great because you could do the old bluegrass trick. Let's see. We'll do it in G. Mess it up. I'd be better off practicing more for that kind of stuff. But, that was how people used to do their boost controls. They get up closer on the mic. If I had a strap, I'd pick it up. If you watch Billy Strings, he's all amplified. Then occasionally he'll pull out an old one, walk up to mic and sound better. If you watch Dan Tominski, he's working that mic and he sounds awesome. But guitar mic'd through PA is usually a headache if you're trying to do it yourself. If you're just showing up at a gig and trying to set up a mic and run to the PA, you're going to get feedback from hell. Acoustic amps suck unless you want to sound like Dave Matthews in 1992, which is useful if you're playing with a very large, loud band. But the acoustic sound from that stuff was not actually very good. Acoustic guitar into a regular amp usually sounds terrible unless you're doing a Lanois kind of thing where you'll put a weird de-armament pickup and run into an old tweed champ just to get a character that you add into the actual sound in the room. Hey, Ron Allen, I don't understand how someone could be an amp guy and not be a guitar guy. Why would you get into amps if you weren't already deep into guitars? I think we're about to wrap this up, but for those of you who were not here earlier, this is what these guitars really sound like compared to what you heard yesterday. wrap this one up because I've got to get back to working on some amps and stuff. But just want to get this stuff dialed in for the next streams, and I always want to sound better. It's weird. Could be contagious.